may I present to you a musical interlude? SummerSlam has come to pass. The build towards Super Showdown we hope will never last. Wake me up when the Australian house show ends.
Oh, man. We had 2 great weeks.
I know.
2 great weeks.
I know. And these are essentially go-home shows. And they made me want to go home and go back to bed.
Oh, my Lord. That was the perhaps the worst of all go-home shows this week.
That in the history of the one fall show, perhaps?
Yes.
Well,
I'm Shonny Constant.
I'm Mr. Bean.
We are basking in the glory of the opulent Wrestle Palace chandelier. And this
particularly opulent this week
is the one
fall
show. Ooh.
The following contest scheduled for one fall is for the NXT Championship.
I got the gift again and the gift again, and I'll put that lazy eye right back to work.
Any man with 2 hands has a fighting chance.
That's Luke Gallows there on the right. That's Carl Anderson. Anderson and Gallows are here.
Look at Nia having a little fun, sending a message to the entire women's division.
Delete! 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 Delete!
Oh, really? I'm not allowed in your little huddle?
No, sir.
Really? You know what? Big E, you just made the list!
Oh, no. Yes!
So when we first started this show, many moons ago, you had pointed out that there would be these periods of time where they're just, you were talking about the same thing every week. And I said, no, we'll be inventive. We'll figure out things to do. Well, I have to apologize to the audience because we have not been very good at putting our heads together and finding things to do.
Something to do on a week like this week.
Yes, on a week like this week. And frankly, I love the fact that people are listening.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they're listening to us do synopses of the show.
In my experience, that's just how podcasting works.
Yeah, it's like
people are very interested to hear us talk to each other about something that they're passionate about or that they enjoy. But at the same time, I don't know why. But I appreciate every single motherfucking one of you.
Yes. In the past, I have tried to ask every week for them to give us some ideas of things to talk about.
Sure.
And this is the reason why. Because I knew that I was lazy.
Well,
and eventually I would run dry.
You're absolutely underselling this week's episode.
Oh yeah.
I feel like, because while we'll get into it because it's how the show works. Raw and SmackDown, to a degree, we're an absolute snooze fest. In fact, even the side shows that we enjoy so much, like say 205 or Mixed Match Challenge, something like that, not their strongest weeks. Mm-hmm. And we're rolling into an event this weekend, which, as we said in the opening, is kind of a glorified Australian house show. At the same time, while this may not be like a hour and a half, 2 hour extravaganza like we've had the last couple of weeks, there's plenty to touch on here.
No, I agree.
I think by the end of the afternoon, you're going to feel a little bit more positive about what we've done here today.
Thank goodness. That's why you're here.
But I will say, like, starting right off the bat, man, Raw was a fucking snooze fest.
Yeah, it was a total drag. It was, I had not been on one of the sort of live feed message boards in quite some time, and I jumped in this week.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to spice things back up.
Sure.
And by the end, I was like, oh no,
what the fuck was I doing
agreeing
here?
with everybody here. Like, I finally have to concede that, like, I'm not. I thought I was returning to bring optimism, but instead I was just like, oh no, I agree with y'all. This is
Yeah.
really. It's just the the constant churning of the same old stuff.
Right. Well,
just never-ending.
it's something we hit on before, and I ain't talking about Meteora here. The fact that you've got 2 3-man factions, one being the Shield, the other being Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman, 6 guys that arguably we should be somewhat interested in what they're doing every week. But the fact that, like, you're not even changing up who's fighting who to a degree.
Right.
It's literally just like, well, obviously Dolph Ziggler is going to fight Seth Rollins
again.
Why wouldn't he?
Right.
Kind of bullshit.
Yeah, and you would think that even if they're not going to go whole hog with the factions, at least you introduce some sort of mitigating foil, right? So that it's not,
right.
Now this week they went so heel that they started the show by saying, "Hey, we're going to have a championship match," and then having Corbin come out and say, "There will be no championship matches. You might as well turn off your TV."
Right. Like, apparently that was something that happened while we were in commercial for the people for the people in the audience. That was Rowan picking up a mic and saying, "Why don't we make this a championship match?" And of course, the people in the crowd are all fucking for it because championship match. Who knows? Anything can happen in the WWE.
You never know.
But then we come back from commercial, and us at home, all we know is that like when pizza's on a bagel, you can get pizza anytime.
Yeah.
And Baron Corbin has to build us up to let us down within 30 seconds, saying like, "This ain't gonna be a championship match." And at home, you're going, "Wait, it's a championship match? Oh wait, no, I guess it's not a championship match."
Very strange, and it set the tone for like, oh well, I guess I in some level appreciate you telling us that we don't need to watch the rest of this.
Right.
But as somebody who is...
Are you remotely invested in the slow fucking burn of, is Dean Ambrose going to turn on the Shield?
No.
Because I don't know anyone who is.
No. I'm worn thin with slow burns, and I think that the ratings, we're seeing these constant updates on the television ratings, and that they're slowly dipping towards under 2 million people, and it's like, well, I... am not in a position this week to buoy them and tell them that, no, just stick with it because next week's going to be great.
Right.
Because I'm not sure what's coming that's going to make it great.
I am hopeful, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I'm hopeful now that we are in the week of the Australian house show, that starting next Monday, the next thing is Evolution, the WWE Evolution. So, all right, let's build towards that hot and heavy. I think it's foolish of me to feel that way because you on either show you have a women's roster of like 10 girls. They get 2 segments. I don't think suddenly the girls are going to take over an entire hour of the show just because you've got a women's pay-per-view coming up. I think we're going to see a lot of build towards Crown Jewel, which is just a Saudi Arabia house show.
Yes, and unfortunately, if we do see them get to take over an hour of the show, it's going to be Becky and Charlotte type thing,
right?
Where I am loving that rivalry
for sure.
But how much can you watch it before you are no longer invested?
Before you're oversaturated. Before it turns into the Shield versus the War Dogs.
The fact that there are so many people on the roster. It's not as though I'm looking at this and saying this is a wasteland of a roster. There's no way they could possibly entertain me. Instead, I'm saying there is a great roster.
Yeah,
and
there are so many people.
It's almost like they are choosing, much like Baron Corbin saying, you will have no championship match. It's almost like they're saying, we are not going to give you anything good.
Right.
It's like, well, okay.
We know you love Finn Balor. We're going to bury him in something you don't give a shit about.
I don't know how long. You can rely on my aughts for a good long time, but I'm not quite sure myself even how long.
Yeah.
At some point, I'll just say, Mr. Bean and I can find something else to talk about, right? Like
it's true, and that's that was something that I wanted to bring up later. Is that like New Japan had their event there, was it Fighting Spirit or something like that over the weekend?
I missed it.
I briefly here's a quick plug at the top of the show here. I briefly discussed it with my friend Erica over on the Nerd Radio podcast this week.
Nice.
And while I was talking to her, the thought crossed my mind is like, I am surprised Shonny doesn't just watch everything New Japan because it's. For as much as you love, you ready to sing it? Factions! As much as you love factions, like New Japan is just a fucking gang war.
Yeah, it's all factions. And the cool thing about it is that when they decide that they are not going to indulge in the faction story. They just simply have the factions as a sort of a tag on them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Chaos has been operating as a faction for many, many, many years.
You got
they were
Chaos,
heel,
you
and
got-
now they're faces. But really, it's a collection of their biggest stars, and they don't act as Chaos. But
yeah, but like
the
you've got
Bullet Club stuff
the
with
club,
the
you've got Chaos, you've got Roppongi 3K, you've got the LIJ that I can never pronounce
Los
correctly.
Ingobernables stay
Thank you
up.
very much. Like everybody's
Suzuki-gun.
everybody's a part of some kind of faction.
Is Ichibon.
Yeah, Suzuki Gun. Like fucking holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm surprised every week you're not bringing me some kind of like, dude, I watched this New Japan and holy shit, and here's some factions.
Yeah, it's tricky because they don't have a regular weekly program.
It's true. Yeah.
So it's speaking of my aughts, you know. It's
Yeah,
nice to
exactly.
know
Well,
that
yeah,
one day
exactly.
I need to just buckle up and I'll sit for 3 hours.
And that's that's definitely one of the positives for you guys who watch the One Fall or listen to the One Fall show who don't watch the weekly TV. We give you the 411 on whether or not you really needed to tune in that week. So this week, I think
Spoiler alert.
yeah, I think this particular week we can both agree that you could have skipped it. There's some things, but you could have skipped it.
You're a long way away, but Australia, don't bother.
It's just going to be an empty arena. It's going to be Mankind versus The Rock in an empty arena from way back in, it was a Super Bowl Sunday for the title.
No, but in reality, if you're an Aussie fan of the WWE, you've got to be excited that Cedric Alexander is going to be facing hometown hero Buddy Murphy.
I'm sure.
On your big stadium
Absolutely.
show. Because we've seen so much of Buddy Murphy in his... for those of you who don't know, Buddy Murphy is somebody who Alexa Bliss used to work with.
Yes. I don't know if they still date, but
I do not know.
he was part of a tag team in NXT. She was their valet. That was her first exposure into being a heel.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finally he got the bump up to 205 Live.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, too, for as much as we shit on 205 Live, like I scrolling through my Twitter saw that apparently TJ Perkins unmasked Kalisto
Whoa.
on 205 Live this week. So, out of the hour of 205 Live, there's at least 5 minutes worth checking out.
What an a-hole.
Yeah, exactly. That's some heel shit right there, man.
Yeah. Ooh. That's shocking news. I'm
Yeah.
surprised that didn't make it on my my major headlines. That should have been trending worldwide.
You would imagine. Well, it's one of those like he pulled his mask off in the ring and then he immediately covered his face. So it's not like we know what Kalisto looks like under the mask or anything like that. But that's still some heel shit. Like F that, man. Is there? Let's talk about Raw.
Yeah. Okay.
For as long as we can, I
Sure.
suppose. It started off with Dean Ambrose in the ring explaining that he's not going to turn on his brothers in the Shield because it's a brotherhood and because he's loyal and all this stuff and blah blah.
How big is? Let's cut to the chase here. This is going to be this week's going to be real different.
Yeah.
How big is the pop going to be if they let Dean Ambrose face Roman Reigns and he's able to take that belt?
Oh, it's going to be huge.
Does he immediately become, like in my mind, and I don't know if we referenced this before, we may have, but my thought is that he should be working on his 316 speech right now.
I agree.
The lore of the 316 speech is that he had Stone Cold had been at the hospital and that Jake the Snake Roberts had dropped this religious promo on him, and somebody who Pritchard probably contacted him and said, "Hey, look, he dropped this promo. You have to be ready to fire back."
Yeah.
Well, with Roman Reigns, you don't know. He's not going to drop a great promo.
No, he's not.
But you have his entire
much to work with.
career of figuring out everything he's ever said and basically figuring out how to drop a promo on that. And basically, I think that all backstage friendship aside, Dean Ambrose needs to just say fuck it and just.
Well, that's my point.
This is my yard, motherfucker.
That's what I was going to get to. Is that Baron Corbin comes out,
Deal the brass ring,
and gives Dean Ambrose the choice. You could face Seth for the Intercontinental title. You can face Roman for the heavyweight title, or you can face Braun Strowman. Now, Dean is not going to give the character of Dean Ambrose that I know is not going to give a fuck about, first of all, yeah, Braun Strowman's a big-ass dude. I've lost to him before. I'll face him, whatever. But he also has faced both his brothers in the Shield for titles at different points, and it's been totally a, like, look, man, when the shot comes, you got to take it. But for some reason this week, he's like, oh, the shot's here. I'm not going to take it because it's coming from Baron Corbin.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because
what is that?
The beard may be sentient. The beard may be
Is that
controlling
what you think
things.
it is?
Yeah.
The beard is like the Venom symbiote.
Yeah,
And
or
it's-
the one true ring.
Yeah.
It's working against him.
I know that for a long time, some friends of mine and I just believed that the WWE Divas title before it was retired was actually like the one true ring. Because every Divas champion was heel.
I thought you were going to mention a diva that I was not aware of that had a sentient beard.
I was not, no, though that would have been fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Maybe it's Triple H's beard. Infiltrating
everybody else's
Shield.
beard. So yeah, we get Dean and Braun Strowman in kind of a snoozer. We end up later in the night get Roman Reigns against Dolph Ziggler, which for as much as I was bitching, we kind of haven't seen yet, but I don't care. It's not super impressive.
No.
To me. And then I think we got Seth Rollins against Drew McIntyre, which, all right, I think I've seen this.
Yeah, unfortunately, what we're discovering is that Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, I think, were interesting for the position that they were put in. Not interesting in this way. Like Daniel Bryan and The Miz, to me, even in its lowest point, is always going to be a high point of the show.
Sure. I wonder if it's like because there's a mentality that's just occurring to me now. The fact that like all 6 of these guys can be in the main event picture for the top title at any point, and the fact that they've done so many matches against each other and they do not matter is kind of what's kind of like watering it down.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think so for sure, and I think that because, and this is where the people who criticize title switches create a problem. If you had some more title switching, especially with that Universal title, at least that keeps things shook up enough to keep us from focusing on the fact that we did not want Roman Reigns to have the damn thing for the last 3 years.
Right.
And now Roman Reigns has the damn thing.
And now
right?
it's like the lesser of two evils.
Yeah. Like, there's nobody in the world who thinks that Drew McIntyre or Dolph Ziggler might steal the Universal title and run away with it until WrestleMania. Right? Like, that is not on the table. Now, had you have given it to one of them, or had they have seized it, even for only a week or two, then at least you'd have that thought in your head, well, maybe.
At least it's become somewhat believable.
Yeah.
That like, well, they've done it once before. Like they could hold the title for even a week. Speaking of things you don't give a shit about, Bobby Roode versus Connor.
Big Bert.
Yeah. Big Bert, and it's just like whatever. The AOP obliterating the B team.
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody really asked for that.
No, I was excited to get to see the B team back.
Yeah.
And it was like,
for like 3 minutes until you saw
exactly what we were afraid was going to happen, was that they were going to disappear from TV only to reemerge to get squashed.
Right. Bobby Lashley fought Kevin Owens. As much as we love Kevin Owens, we are not invested.
Nope.
Kevin did a real good job in week 1.
And let's
trying to invest us in this.
And let's talk about the pacing of this show, right? So the second hour ends essentially with this long Shield versus Dogs of War story. It was like the first 2 hours of the show were that, basically. Yeah. And as the show was winding towards the end of the second hour, we're winding towards the end of that sort of rivalry, and I'm thinking, well, maybe they're mercifully going to just end the show at 10 for no reason. But then you bring out Bobby Lashley and Kevin Owens afterwards in what feels like what would be a dark match on SmackDown. Like, you had already given us all of the Universal title stuff. Now you're giving us Lashley Owens.
Right.
And if this was a match that I thought was going to really, really, really deliver, then that would be great, except for there's nothing on the line here to make it really deliver.
Other than these guys are going to fight in Australia along with John Cena and Elias.
Mm-hmm. And that is a match that I am genuinely excited to see.
You're a big Cena mark.
I am a Cena mark, and I'm looking forward to that return. And I think that there could be some good stuff done with all 4 of these guys. Unfortunately, they are not doing it, or Bobby Lashley is incapable. But I would think that, they're letting us see the 23-year-old piece of gold every week.
That's true.
But they're not doing any backstage stuff to flesh out the story.
Yeah.
It's very strange. And I watched Impact for the first time, essentially.
Oh.
Let's call it the first time here now.
Sure.
And first off, I did not love the show. I'm going to give it more of a chance.
It's definitely it takes a lot to find the things you want to like in it.
Yeah, I really liked Sue Young, and she had the Undead Bride.
I love her.
Sort of this strange mix of the Undertaker, and she does the Mandible Claw, which was very entertaining. And then, unfortunately, in this particular episode, I didn't get to see Pentagon El Zero wrestle. He only did a promo.
Okay.
And I know that I enjoy him a lot. The rest of the guys I have to get warmed up to.
Did you see? Hold on a minute, because I was just looking on Twitter last night and seeing like what, because I saw that you'd watched Impact, and it made me like, oh, maybe I should pay attention to Impact again, because I haven't since Rosemary is on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
As much as Sue Young is cool, she's Asian Rosemary, and I love Rosemary, so I'm just kind of waiting for Rosemary to come back to see what they do with that. But there's a dude that's wrestling tonight as we record this that's just called Murder Clown.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, and that's where I was not getting to Murder Clown, but it helps to join these two ideas together. The one thing I like that they do, and that makes me want to see more, is they do a lot of backstage promos.
Yes,
and none of them grabbed me. Like, none of them I thought last week were fantastic, but that doesn't necessarily indicate that none are ever fantastic. And the one that was the most intriguing was Murder Clown, where this
I love his manager. She used to work for the WWE, Katrina Waters.
Okay, yes.
She's just got a fascinating look.
Yes, and that was how this whole thing worked out, where there was a couple of British guys, and she's a British woman, right?
Yes.
And they're sort of some kind of banter that if I had been watching would have made sense to me, and then there's schism creates, and then she goes, oh, well, fine, if that's the way you're going to be, I'm going to introduce you to Murder Clown. And it's this giant man in a half clown mask, and I think he says MC on his head.
It does.
And I'm like,
I saw the poster.
Is this real?
I saw the poster for this, and I'm like, Murder Clown versus Joe Henry. And he's got Grado, who is a great comedic character.
Yes.
On Impact, has done some great comedic work on there. But, yeah, he's just like...
I think she presented him as, quote unquote, the scariest of all clowns, Murder Clown.
But the thing that I found absolutely fascinating, I'm trying to find it again. His Twitter handle is Murder El Grande.
Nice, a big murder.
Yeah, he's a lucha libre. With
yes,
they're
doing the shows in Mexico. Well, last week was Mexico City. I don't know if it's an extended period in Mexico City or if it's a tour of Mexico.
Right.
But it seems that this is a multi-week deal there. It's interesting because it's still not as though that they're playing arenas, right? It's still that strange.
As if that face, let me show you on my phone here, as if that face with that mask with the MC on it, as if that wasn't going to sell you on a guy called Murder Clown, finding out that his Twitter handle is Murder El Grande.
El Grande.
I'm like, all right, fucking, I got to watch Impact this week. I got to see Murder El Grande.
That's like the last desperate burrito that Taco Bell releases to try to get you to come back one more time before you give them up entirely.
Can you survive the Murder El Grande?
Oh
man.
Thank you, Murder Clown. You saved the week.
There you go.
You saved the week.
There you go. And you know, like I said, it's not like there was 3 hours of absolutely nothing. We got to see my girl Ruby Riott fight Ronda Rousey, which I'm interested to see. I'm always interested to see Ronda Rousey because I'm always interested to see what new things is she going to have learned since the last time we've seen her in the ring. You know, how is she going to sell? Does she have a new move or something like that? I've said it before and I'll say it again. She needs to just fucking end the match with that judo throw instead of going into the armbar. It's one of those things where I know they're booking it because we all expect the armbar because it's Ronda fucking Rousey, but like, you can go for the pin. This isn't a submission-only sport.
That judo throw looks so mean. Like,
it does.
When you can tell she's winding up to deliver it for a second or third time, I'm like, oh, you're gonna dislocate a shoulder.
Yeah.
Props to the women on the roster for learning how to be ragdolled. Loosely.
There's that fucking arm drag thing that she does like 3 of.
Right.
That's the thing that I'm like, somebody's shoulder's gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if Alexa Bliss, who we haven't seen in the ring since she fought Ronda Rousey, wouldn't be surprised if legitimately her shoulder is hurt.
Ruby Riott put up a damn good fight.
She did. We're in a era where I will always say Ruby Riott deserves better than she's getting, and I hope that eventually she gets a run with the title or just something. And I saw somebody on Twitter say Brie kicked the blonde out of Liv Morgan's hair.
Oh no!
As Liv is now all pink.
All pink. Still looked a little glassy-eyed. I don't know if that was just me projecting.
It was funny that we joked months and months ago that Liv Morgan is just like baby Carmella, and now both her and Carmella are not blonde.
No.
There's no way you could confuse either of them.
Right. And in the meantime, R-Truth has stolen my moniker, our other Carmella.
Other Carmella.
Handed it out to people that weren't other Carmella.
Remotely other Carmella. But the big main event this week was The Undertaker and Kane coming out to beat up Triple H and Shawn Michaels, leading into the main event of the Old Guy Showdown in Australia.
Grampy
battle, and us discovering that Shawn Michaels apparently taking a page out of Triple H's book and getting rid of all of his hair.
Mm-hmm.
Not even going for a shortcut.
Very silly headband.
What's
going on there?
I'm fairly certain that was to cover up while he was wearing his hat the fact that he had no hair. But it made him look a lot like Bret Michaels from Poison.
This is the strange Shawn Michaels tiara.
Yeah.
So what? When the Undertaker first came around, I remember I was watching. I don't necessarily have a good enough recollection to say I was watching Week 1, but I was a big fan of Purple Glove, Purple Boots Undertaker.
Sure.
So would have been around probably 14 or 15 at that time.
Very cartoony, but definitely iconic.
Yeah, and see, I was into it. Now, reading this book, Jim Smallman's book, I'm Sorry I Love You, The History of Wrestling, he's interesting because he hated that. He did not. He was more of the shoot style, smarky kind of guy.
Wow, even back, that must have been torture back in the 80s.
Yes, yeah.
When you've got the Goon and the Garbage Man running around and the Repo Man. That must have just been torture.
But I loved that whole thing with the urn being his source of power, and the fact that he could no-sell shit. I mean, I didn't know what that meant, no-sell. I was like, he's
the fact that he was
fucking
Stoneface from the moment he hit the curtain to the moment he was gone.
And I liked Triple H as a Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Mm-hmm. This was years later, but I was watching less intently, but I know sporadically he would come out with his frock and riding crop and long, tall riding boots, and I just thought he just looked cool.
Badass Triple H in like the 99s and 2000s is definitely one of the reasons I came back.
And but I don't think I ever saw any of their matches. Do you have any recollection of some of their matches? Because boy, they're telling us that this last match is the one that you have to see. So,
I do.
Tell me, Mr. Bean, how excited are you?
I would absolutely rather go on the WWE Network and watch any of these four guys in their prime than watch them wrestle now.
Oh well, sure.
I would encourage you to go back to WrestleMania 17 and watch The Undertaker versus Triple H, which I believe was kind of their first, pay-per-view quality match. They may have fought when they were both cartoon characters, but I missed it.
This was the big one.
This was a great knockdown drag out.
By this time, Triple H has got the game.
He's the game. Yeah, The Undertaker is the American badass at the time, and they put on a great fucking show. They're all over that arena. They're fighting into the crowd. They're there's some hardcore stuff. It's the end of the Attitude Era, so there's some bad chair shots in there. And it's absolutely worth seeing. Wasn't real invested when Triple H and The Undertaker fought a couple of times at WrestleMania, like 5 or 6 years ago, after The Undertaker had essentially retired Shawn by fighting him twice at WrestleMania.
And one of those times was in Detroit, right?
No? I don't think so.
Who did Taker face at WrestleMania in Detroit?
Taker fought Batista at the WrestleMania here in Detroit.
Oh, well, that's totally different. Never mind.
And I certainly wasn't into that match either, because not a big Batista mark, and knew walking into the match that he was taking the belt off Batista.
My friend Elizabeth loves the fact that Batista, when he was introduced, was I think called the Leviathan.
He was,
and back in crawling out of the Ohio River.
Yeah, back in Ohio Valley Wrestling, he was the Leviathan.
And someone in Louisville, the Ohio River sort of passes through, and I think much like if we saw someone climb out of the Detroit River, she was like, you must be a superhero because you survived
that fucking river.
The pollution. The pollution alone gives you superpowers.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how they thought certain characters, and to some degree they were right, but it's fascinating how certain guys had different characters in what essentially was NXT at the time, but Ohio Valley Wrestling or Deep South Wrestling, something like that. And then when they got called up, they absolutely changed them whatsoever. When you look back and you're like, well, fuck, I'd have gotten behind a guy called Leviathan. That'd have been really fun. John Cena was called the Prototype.
Yes.
And I think I would have got behind a guy called the Prototype doing the goofy shit that he was doing.
Oh, early John Cena was so awful. I hate early John Cena.
I remember when he started rapping, man. I thought that was like, this is perfect, because at least when we were growing up in high school, like nobody really likes the white guy acting like the black guy to a degree.
Right. It was like
so it seemed like easy heat.
Yes, we who knew, but we were ahead of the curve in our disdain for cultural appropriation.
Sure, fair enough. Yeah, exactly. But then he was legitimately good at rapping, and it's hard to hate on a guy who's like legitimately good at something.
Yeah, I had a hard time getting over it.
So you were in the other camp when people were when he was fighting The Rock or something a couple years ago, and people were like, just drop a sick rap.
Oh.
Just drop a sick rap on The Rock, man. And you're just like, no, don't do that.
No, please don't.
Please don't do that.
No.
Maybe you'll drop a sick rap on Australia this weekend.
You know what would be fun is Kevin Owens putting his fist in his mouth.
Yeah. While he's trying to drop a sick rap. That was actually absolutely a short highlight of this week's Raw too, is getting to see Kevin Owens sitting next to Elias while Elias is playing, with just like, he didn't sing, he didn't add into it, he didn't do that, he just had this look on his face like, yeah, this guy, and then he'd like look over at Elias's guitar while he's playing, and then he'd just nod like, that was real good. This guy's real good.
He's like a supervisor, an on-site supervisor. He's like,
yep.
I'm gonna sit here and watch and make sure that you managed to do this right.
That he managed to play guitar well.
And boy, he sure has built in confidence over the years. Like it seemed as though the guitar gimmick was just like the guitar gimmick has always been in the past, which is it's just a handy weapon to have.
Yeah, but he's definitely made it his own.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, let's move on to SmackDown, which not the best episode of SmackDown, but significantly better than Raw, which is what we've come to expect every week. Sometimes I wonder if I enjoy SmackDown more because it's a social event. That like sometimes you'll come over and watch SmackDown. I got some buddies that come over, my girlfriend to watch SmackDown. Like sometimes I wonder if SmackDown is legitimately the better show, or if it's just because it's become a social event that I like it more.
Well, I appreciate that you enjoy the social aspect of it, but it's a better show. The 2-hour mark I referred to before was coming to an end in Raw. I had already decided that the highlights and previews for the next SmackDown episode had exceeded everything on the men's side.
Everything
of
that
the
you'd
card.
seen?
Oh, so far, yes.
And on Monday
literally,
night.
if I was giving star ratings to things, the commercials for SmackDown were better than all of the men's matches. Until Kevin and...
until Kevin and Elias were hanging out.
Yeah, and it's not as though that like blew me away to the degree that I didn't come into this show this week just wishing that I didn't turn on a wrestling match in my damn life, Vince McMahon.
Let me say personally that I'm glad that you don't give star ratings to stuff, because I feel like that might be gimmick infringement.
Ah, yes.
I don't know that we could live up to that. But SmackDown opens with Paige announcing that Samoa Joe has committed the most heinous crime in SmackDown history. And I think if you've been watching SmackDown for even 12 months, you know that is fucking not true.
Man, old Wiener Fingers is sure as hell getting off the hook.
He burned a goddamn man's house down within the last year. But Samoa Joe ringing a doorbell and running away is the most heinous crime that has ever happened on SmackDown. I know for sure people have stolen cars and motorcycles on SmackDown. At one point, somebody was stalking The Undertaker's wife and taking video of it and speaking in a creepy voice, which we found out just a couple of weeks ago was actually Vince McMahon's voice. They just put a voice modulator on it. It wasn't actually, because it ended up being Diamond Dallas Page, which is fucking awful.
Right. Yeah, because he'd been a WCW man, and
they're like, here's how we're going to introduce you to WWE, and it's like, that is totally not Diamond Dallas Page's character, but I guess, when the phone rings, you answer it.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, Paige saying that there will not be charges pressed so that Samoa Joe and AJ Styles can fight in Australia.
Yeah, totally unnecessary. Did not need any of that to make me want to see the match, and actually put a bad taste in my mouth.
Honestly, I knew once Samoa Joe started involving AJ's family, you have to shoot something at the house. Right. You have to shoot something remotely home invasion-y.
And I will hand it to Samoa Joe, continues to be one of the best promo guys in the business. Now,
absolutely.
AJ Styles, on the other hand, perhaps the best ring worker in the business, certainly in the WWE, in my opinion. And his promo did not go over this week, as he was describing the situation and the fact that Samoa Joe had threatened his kids, and some small but boisterous faction in the audience was chanting, "Fuck your kids, fuck your kids."
I totally missed the crowd chanting "fuck your kids," but that is hilarious.
Yeah, and as near as I could tell, there was the crowd there was trying to boo them down for that. A rude chant, to be sure. But the problem is that he's delivering a promo, so you don't have a big pop going. So instead you just hear "fuck your kids" and boos while AJ is talking. So like completely buries him in terms of the atmosphere of the whole thing. And it was very awkward. Was it Portland, Oregon crowd this week?
Yeah, they're in Portland, Oregon, and they were salty. While we're talking about the crowd, let's fast forward through SmackDown a little bit to if there are two huge stories that we're following at SmackDown, the first is got to be Becky Lynch and Charlotte, because the I don't even want to call it a heel turn at this time, but the sharpening of the Becky Lynch character is fascinating and seems week to week to get better and better and better. The other one being the decimation of Rusev Day, which has turned into this week's One Night in Milwaukee video.
Yeah, it's very. What did you think? I thought disappointing as hell. Very silly.
I thought it was hilarious that you could obviously tell the video was stopped.
Right
when Lana said,
such a preposterous notion.
"Aiden, I need you," and then it stopped, and it's very obviously stopped. I like the idea that kayfabe Rusev is so bad at social media, he has no idea that video stopped.
Right.
He thinks that she literally just paused after "I need you." But the fact that 2 weeks now you've got a crowd when Lana is out there chanting Milwaukee at her, like, what the fuck does that say about how involved the crowd is in Lana? Mm-hmm. Like, she's obviously not supposed to be the heel, so we're not supposed to chant against her or try and make her angry or anything like that. But fucking crowds just chant Milwaukee because there's 3 syllables in it.
Well, because that's and that's the thing that is so much fun that everyone wants to participate in. They're sitting on the hands for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
and it's why Vince McMahon doesn't feel he ever needs to recognize that. I'm not quite sure. Well, the stock price, I suppose, but.
Speaking of
I don't know, man.
Speaking of the social media, if you don't follow either Lana or Rusev, I don't know if Rusev has his own Instagram, but Lana is very active on Instagram, and they took a video last week from Hawaii where she was doing the Rusev crush pose or something like that, and he was holding the camera for her, and he kept bringing up Milwaukee just to be, and then he had this really big shit-eating grin on his face whenever he do it, and she would just be like, because she was staying in character, but Rusev is a funny motherfucker. Yeah, I would watch. They gave Miz and Maurice their own reality show, and Rusev and Lana show up on Total Divas, but realistically, Rusev is a funny motherfucker. I would watch a reality show of Rusev and Lana just to watch Rusev.
Right.
Because he is fantastic.
They're not being displayed in the storyline, though.
No,
they're
trying to tone him down and just make him like the troubled husband, trying to figure out exactly what's going on here. And like, no, Rusev's funny, man. Let him be funny.
Yeah, it's this idea that, he's over now, so we have to make him a face, so therefore these are the new rules you have to follow, Rusev. No, just let Rusev be Rusev and be over.
That's what got him over in the first place.
Becky Lynch, let Becky be Becky and be over. And whatever, in terms of like trying to say, well, no, in order to be over, we need to do this and this and this for you. No. Becky knows how she's over.
Yeah, exactly.
She don't need your help.
Yeah, exactly. It's like finding out you have something that works and then deciding you need to focus on it and put your spin on it. And like, no, you have this thing that works, and it worked before you were paying attention. So don't fuck with it and let it keep working.
Yeah, you see that in Hollywood all the time.
Right.
When something gets interesting enough, the studio then says, "Oh, well, we better interfere because now this is worth our time."
Yeah,
well,
now
your interference is only going to make it bad. The artists have created something great. Now your interference is going to make it bad. Stop it.
What'd you think of New Day Cooks?
New Day Cooks. I enjoyed seeing Mr. Bootyworth.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love someday. I would love to know exactly what his job is backstage. That kid looks like he is probably 21.
Yeah, and they said that he's the one who makes the pancakes. Of all the things that I wonder, is that kayfabe? Hopefully someone writes the tell-all book one day.
I don't know if he sets up the ring or if he's a writer's assistant or what, but I would love to know, like, who is that guy?
Right.
And he, much like we were talking about The Undertaker doing real well at being stone-faced, he did a fantastic job this week of not break in character while the New Day gets the crap beat out of them, and then Sheamus and Cesaro eventually be big bullies and fill his hat full of pancake batter.
Classic.
It made me long for like the old Attitude Era days of having these goofy ass matches. Like Jeff Jarrett had a match with Chyna way back in the day that was like a Good Housekeeping match or something like that, and there was a vacuum involved and kitchen stuff, and like a big bag of flour, like we saw Kofi just eat a big bag of flour.
Big bag of flour is a great Carney trick, man.
Great
it makes
prop,
such a
man.
cool effect.
It does. It's a great prop. I miss that shit. I want that shit. I feel like that should be added as a stipulation to their tag team match. It should just be a pancake batter match.
The kitchen brawl.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. That would be fantastic. And then I was really pleased that they ended the show with the Becky Lynch and Charlotte segment.
It was the best segment of the week on the two big shows.
I liked the photoshopped poster from the pictures that were taken last week, I think. And I liked that Becky had pointed this out on social media earlier this week, too, that the poster for the Superstar Showdown features Charlotte along with a couple other ladies. Becky is nowhere to be found in that poster.
I had not noticed. I don't pay much attention to the posters.
And the fact that she pointed it out and the fact that she cut a promo at the end of the show on SmackDown led me to believe that this Becky, the sharpening of Becky's character, as I said before, is less Stone Cold Steve Austin and a little bit more CM Punk.
Interesting.
A little bit more, look, you've been overlooking me for fucking ever. I'm done. I'm done being overlooked. And I don't care what it takes. You will notice me.
Very cool. Very cool. Everyone's always looking for the next Stone Cold, but
right.
The idea of swerving into the next CM Punk is certainly not a disappointing place to be.
Not at all. Not at all.
And provides a great bit of versatility.
Yeah. I briefly want to mention, I don't want to mention, but we should mention, otherwise we'd be irresponsible. Randy Orton continuing to be a sick motherfucker, facing Ty Dillinger and then like stripping back that pole and putting his finger in it and twisting it around.
Now, did you hear the crowd during that?
Ugh.
The crowd was just tirelessly chanting 9, 9, 9.
Fucking Portland,
Three
man.
a-holes right in the front row chanting 9. Well, first they were saying no.
Yeah.
They're like, he needs to count to 10. He needs to count to 10. And then they were chanting 9, 9, 9.
It was another Randy Orton thing where I had to turn away. I couldn't deal with it. I could not watch him twist it. Like I didn't know if he was legitimately going to break his finger or if they were just going to work it. The only thing I wanted out of that segment is at the end, once Ty was laying on the floor clutching his hand, I wanted Randy to get right in his face and just slowly give him the 10 hand signature.
Yeah, shocking that they didn't go there.
And they fucking didn't. Because that seems like it would be a natural.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we've heard, is that Vince McMahon hates the 10 thing. So this is just Vince.
This is Vince trying to kill the 10?
Kill the 10, yes.
Fuck that,
like they're
man.
finally putting a stake in it. And
I'm sorry I'm swearing all the time on this particular episode, man.
You're fired up.
I'm salty.
Fired up. 9, 9, 9. Oh, well, at least Ty Dillinger has gotten some TV time.
I know. The Mixed Match Challenge this week that took place after SmackDown. Once again, not the strongest episode of the Mixed Match Challenge. I don't know that I'm really into this whole round robin tournament thing. It makes sure that you get to see the teams at least 4 times, or maybe 5 times. But there's teams in there that I don't want to see 4 or 5 times. I love Alicia Fox, but I'm really not sold on her and the Maharaja.
No, and it's strange that they're putting like them back to back, right?
Yeah.
Like okay, we're gonna get to see you again. Take some time to figure out why we want to see you.
Not at all. No, I think they've decided within 1 week that like, yep, your chemistry is garbage, and we need to get you in and out of this as fast as possible.
I wonder if that is the way that shakes out, right? Like, but I don't know how they would figure that out, right? It's very silly. I'm with you. I think that the matchups this week were very underwhelming, which is weird for week 3, right? Like if you're gonna have a lull, you'd think you'd want to keep the ball rolling a little farther.
Finn and Bailey is something I wanted to see last year, so I'm cool to see it. But at the same time, you got to put something else on the other side of the ring that they can play off of, and I didn't feel like this week was something they could play off of very well. And then on the SmackDown side of things, why don't we just call it the Mixed Dance Challenge at this point? This is 2 weeks in a row. Like, obviously, every time we see Truth and Carmella in the ring, we're going to see a dance break because that's their shtick now ever since Truth TV.
And we should, but another reason why you don't have them back to back.
But then you have
3 weeks from now, I want to see another dance break.
But you have Naomi and Lana in the ring who have had a dance battle before, so obviously we have to do it again. And I'm like, no, you don't. You really don't.
No.
You really don't. And it's especially, once again, booking Lana and Rusev on a week where they just had to deal with the Milwaukee storyline. You know, like, they're going to have to deal with it week to week to week to week to week, obviously. But maybe book them on a week where you didn't have them in the ring dealing with a major advancement of the story.
Right.
Instead of like, hey, you remember an hour ago where we had no idea, like Rusev just kind of walked off on her and we had no idea what's going on? Yeah, they got to fight in the Mixed Match Challenge later. So, let's do this.
Did they do anything to extend the storyline, or was it just
Jimmy Uso grabbed the house mic and asked Lana about Milwaukee so that Naomi could get the roll up? That's some heel shit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
There was a spot where after Lana and Naomi had a dance break, Rusev demanded a dance battle with Jimmy Uso.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, Jimmy Uso danced very well. Rusev did the Rikishi thing. If you remember when Rikishi was with Too Cool, they would put the glasses on him. And then he would put his hands down. And he put his hands down, and Jimmy joined in. He was like, yeah, okay, what? And then he kicked him right in the face.
Oh. Dirty pool, Jimmy Uso.
No dancing from Rusev. No dancing from Rusev whatsoever. Did you catch NXT? Because I did not.
I did not caught NXT, and I caught only the first match of the Mixed Match Challenge.
Or the Mae Young Classic.
Mae Young Classic, my bad, yes.
Mae Young Classic definitely delivered this week. Out of everything this week, Mae Young Classic delivered.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me. The first match I thought was very good. The second match that I got queued up, never got to, I stopped it so that I could make sure I got back to sit down and watch it in its entirety, and then did not get that opportunity. But I'm very excited to the Catanzaro versus...
Yeah, Catanzaro versus Rhea Ripley, and it's fascinating because I don't remember exactly how tall Rhea Ripley is, but Catanzaro is very small and makes Rhea Ripley look like the Big Show.
Yeah. Rhea Ripley is a 6 foot or maybe an inch or two taller, and I think Casey Catanzaro, they pushed pretty hard as being 5 feet tall and about 100 pounds.
Yeah.
So she's about the size of Alexa Bliss, but we forget that Alexa Bliss was a power lifter. So despite how short she is, she's got a lot of meat on the bones. Where Catanzaro is a gymnast, so she's much more like a lithe, what's that word?
For
there?
sure.
Tiny person.
Yeah, well, and she does a couple of moves there during the match that they harken back to Rey Mysterio. She does botch a high risk move. And in my opinion, recovers very, very expertly, very nicely. It would be very easy to let that absolutely rattle you. But both the girls recover nicely. Tainara Conti faces Lacey Lane. That's a cool match. The match itself isn't spectacular, but I love both of their characters.
Yes,
I love seeing both their characters.
And that's the fun part about being in the second round, whereas we've seen everybody once. In many of the cases, the right person, by my fandom, won the matches, and so it's fun that all of the matchups now are charged with some sort of drama or some sort of excitement for the participants.
Right. And the final match is the highlight of the show. It's Mercedes Martinez versus Miko Satomura.
Fantastic.
I love Miko Satomura.
I
can't put my finger on exactly why, but I fucking love her.
She's fucking awesome.
I hope that she goes far in it, but I remember as the match was going on thinking to myself, like, most of these girls you've either already seen in NXT or you expect to see in NXT or something to some degree. I don't know that Miko needs to stop wrestling in Japan.
No.
So it feels like she's enhancement talent in the main classic.
She runs her own promotion. It's like, what is she gonna be, like the 8th rate wrestler? We've seen how Nakamura has been treated, abysmally.
Right.
So the idea that she would be able to come in and garner a higher profile seems unlikely based on the history of the company.
Yeah.
And why would you at this point in your career, I think 38 years old or so, go from being revered as one of the best wrestlers in all of the world, gender aside, to being just like getting 3 minutes here and there.
But when
look at the damn Asuka.
When they
We
kicked
got
the
to
match
see her again
into,
this week.
when they kicked the match into third gear, I was definitely like, okay, well, Mercedes is going over because I mean they have no reason to put Mako over, but they fooled me. They fooled me. Mako going into the quarterfinals, and I'm super excited about that.
Very cool.
I think
I really like Martinez as well. She was in last year's tournament.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
She is over with me.
It's weird, especially in the second year of this, how many girls, like I said, that we've seen in NXT already that are in the tournament that I'm like, once again, I feel like you're enhancement talent because like you're already signed.
Right.
You're already in NXT.
Yeah,
like
that part of it is a little strange.
I can see you on NXT next week. So, it's no. I do have to say, what is it? I've just forgot her name. The Brazilian kickboxer.
Oh no, Conti?
Yes. She needs to get that tongue under control.
Wow.
She's constantly she's got great facial expressions, but I've noticed specifically in the Mae Young Classic that she's constantly lolling her tongue out of her mouth and licking her teeth and stuff. And I don't know what that's about, but she needs to get that shit under control. That's weird.
Well, I reckon that if you're noticing it, then everyone's noticing it, and you'll see more of it, not less of it.
Yeah, probably. I'm looking it up too.
The tongue is going into business for itself, Mr. Bean.
It absolutely is. I'm looking it up too. I guess NXT has Candice LeRae versus Lacey Evans. I'm sure that's great.
Yes.
And then Johnny Gargano versus Tony Nese. So.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's
yeah,
gonna be fun. I'll probably watch those once we turn off the mics here today.
Yeah, so we'll probably watch that, and then we'll have to catch up on some NXT next week, for sure. You want to take a break?
Sure.
Quick smoke, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the super old guy showdown.
Grampy battle
In just a second.
All right, so you've got Brandon challenging you for the
number one contendership of the Swedish Fish champion.
Yeah, so it makes. I'm gonna fill out a card. I'm gonna ask Rob if he's listening, Mr.
Wolf.
I'm gonna have to bleep that out.
Oops.
I'm gonna ask Mr. Wolf. I'm gonna fill out a card and basically just challenge you. I'm giving you this is your warm up match.
Okay, this is a non-title.
A non-title, yeah. Just you. So I'll go.
You're Baron Corbining Australia right now.
Sorry, Jace.
Well done.
But yeah, of course, we will. The bragging rights will be allowed to apply to any of us who happens to win this thing. But in terms of the individual matchups, that's how we're
and we
go.
always encourage you guys at home to go to was it Pro Wrestling Scorecards?
Yes.
Fill out your own scorecard. See how you rate against us. Let us know. Have a good time, man. Because we it's all for fun. It's all for good. Except for myself and Brandon. I like that you call it a challenge because I don't see that it's going to be one.
Ooh. And certainly not fun.
Let's start where all good pay-per-views should start. The Cruiserweight Championship.
Hey, look at that. They're still on the company.
Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy. Did we mention 205 this week?
Nope.
I guess TJ Perkins pulled Kalisto's mask off during 205 Live.
I don't know if you mentioned it on the show or not. You
I don't
told
remember.
me,
Yeah,
I think, off
told
the
you about
air.
it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's some heel shit.
Yeah, maybe.
That's some heel shit. Just when you think you can't hate TJ Perkins anymore.
Absolutely.
All right, Cedric Alexander, Buddy Murphy. You don't pull the title off Cedric Alexander.
No.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, I'm sure that people will be excited that Buddy Murphy, the hometown hero, returns. But yeah.
Yeah, especially in this day and age when you fucking lose in your hometown.
Yeah.
So
certainly in a much bigger fashion in your home country.
Yeah, exactly.
Submission count out, DQ.
Pinfall.
Who cares? Who cares?
I don't know.
Can I score points for who cares?
Yeah. Number of aerial moves, I'm going to say 15. Because fuck it.
I'm going to go 10.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Hey, another match with a local talent that I think we all know the outcome of. Asuka and Naomi versus the Iconics.
Wow. I can't pick the Iconics for anything.
No, me neither.
I cannot be brought to do it, especially facing Asuka and Naomi, who are two that I am a big fan of. All power to the Iconics for getting all this TV time over the last 6 months.
I know it's their characters, and I know
not
they're
getting over with me.
Yeah, I know they're just doing, what they're supposed to be doing. But I swear to God, when I see them come out, the first thing I look for is if they have mics in their hands. If they have mics in their hands, then I got something better to do.
And I generally am. I'm genuinely impressed with the fact that they are willing to go out there and try everything.
Yeah,
it's like the kitchen sink approach, but it's not working. not for me. Now, hopefully, they get a huge pop in in
Australia,
and they can figure out some way to get him over with this. But again, feels like a glorified house show. I don't know that we can expect anything pivotal in terms of character to happen here.
I don't think.
And
You know what?
Boy, does it need it?
Maybe we'll both be super shocked, and the Iconics will win in their home country.
Yeah, well,
But I doubt it. I think Asuka, just like on Tuesday, Asuka gets one of the Iconics to tap out to the Asuka lock.
She has been in fuego, Asuka. She, you can tell that she is not a huge fan of not being on TV and not being in the mix of the competition. She is ferocious.
Yeah, and hopefully they give her something really major and awesome to do going into the Evolution pay-per-view. Tag team championships, SmackDown. New Day versus The Bar in what we hope to be a kitchen match.
Oh boy, I think the New Day sticks with it. Although where do they go after that? Is it back to the
The Usos?
The Usos?
Yeah.
I mean, they had all their matches have been excellent, I have to say. But again, it's a matter of I would like to even be teased with the fact that there might be another I don't know, what would you? They need a brand shuffling or something here, quick. Things are calcifying, man.
Yeah.
I am losing interest.
I'm going to pick my boys, the New Day.
Day.
I'm saying Xavier is probably the one that's not going to be in this match. You got to have Big E in a match with Sheamus and Cesaro.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
You need that big man in there. But I don't know. I said Kofi could probably pin Cesaro because Cesaro, doesn't ever get the push we feel he deserves.
Why Cesaro is not ever in the big title hunt, I will never understand.
Yeah, apparently he made an appearance at an NXT house show.
With Cassius Ohno,
saving Cassius Ohno from a beat down.
Yeah,
so that's
I wonder if there's some sort of hint. If they're testing the waters to see how. If that does anything in terms of the hits on YouTube and because at some point we assume that Sheamus is going to step away from the business. At least in a full-time role.
I know that if I had my druthers, I would definitely have Cesaro and Cassius Ohno down in NXT, maybe doing some tag work, so that you could put Sheamus and Rusev together because they're comedy gold.
I can see that. And boy, I think that it would be a slap in the face of the career that Cesaro has earned, but as a fan of professional wrestling. We would get to see great matches.
Absolutely,
Cesaro
100%
down at NXT with the talent that's there now.
Well, speaking of great matches, here's one we certainly expect to be a great match: Daniel Bryan and The Miz.
Yes, this is one of the highlights.
Number one contendership on the line. I think I know I pick The Miz every fucking time we do this, but I feel like if you're gonna add the title to the program of Daniel Bryan and The Miz has to be the one that has it.
Boy, man, either one of the idea of any of the four potential outcomes here with Miz, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe makes for an interesting continuation of the story.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like any particular match,
any combination.
The Miz versus AJ Styles, sure, I want to see that. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, fuck yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe, hell yeah, that sounds great.
Samoa Joe did drop him on his head.
Well, that is true. But we did see this week Daniel Bryan go for a flying headbutt again.
What?
Against Shelton Benjamin.
Ridiculous. First off, glad to see Shelton underused.
Absolutely.
Shelton's a very talented.
He's another one of those guys like we were talking before about, like, you've got a roster full of guys that we know are talented and that we want to see, but you just kind of you trickle them out to us.
But not rolling out of the way of the flying headbutt, not helpful for Shelton Benjamin's career. The fact that he's even delivering a flying headbutt, silly.
Yes.
Preposterous. Yeah, they clonked, man. What the hell are you doing, Daniel? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm picking.
Well, Brie Bella wasn't there to botch something, so
right. So Daniel had to do it for her. Is that what you're saying?
He took the concussion.
Yeah, I'm picking The Miz in this match.
Me too.
You know what? I'm going to say the Miz is going to make him tap out.
Ooh, interesting. I'm going to go with the pinfall. And
I'll say about 3 finishers.
You know what? I'm going to say. Ooh, man. You know what? I'm going bold. I'm taking my pick back.
You going Daniel?
Double count out.
Ooh, wow.
Because we want to see so much. What's going to happen next? That Vince McMahon is going to say, well, tough shit.
Excellent. Well, here's something I know you want to see. Our boy Kevin Owens, along with Elias versus Bobby Lashley, and a man that we can't see. Mr. John Cena. Does John Cena really not win this match? I mean, I think
no.
it feels like a given.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to trot him across the globe and pay him whatever ridiculous one-day fund you have to give him for it, he's got to win the thing, right? So he's got KO. I believe it's going to be John Cena over KO specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think Kevin could make that work. Kevin can complain about that for a while.
Yes, and I think that John Cena and KO could do guaranteed money if they ever decide that John Cena is going to come back for any kind of extended period of time.
Do we get to hear Elias play his guitar before the match? Do you think? It feels like a wasted opportunity if Elias ever comes out and doesn't play his guitar. Even if he's interrupted. As long as he gets to play it for like a hot second.
Yeah, I think they let him play the guitar.
Yeah.
Boy, it'd be disappointing if they don't. He's traveling all that way. Just to have the fans wait for him to travel all that way.
Right, he's the drifter, so he takes it everywhere.
Only
over
to
his
arrive
shoulder.
and not be played. Yeah, no, that'd be very disappointing. Although I guess again,
Check that
speaking
thing.
of Vince McMahon withholding the Alliance performance until the next Super Showdown.
Well, like I said,
basically holding the whole country hostage.
He takes it everywhere, so he's got to check it through customs a couple times. He's got to put it on an airplane, which is going to do terrible things to an acoustic guitar. I mean, you've got this one here, and it hasn't been on an airplane, but at least it plays a song. So I don't.
Oh, wake me up when the house shows end.
SmackDown Women's Championship, probably one of the highlights of this. I agree completely. Becky fucking Lynch. You take that belt off Becky Lynch now, you're just asking for the crowd to shit all over Charlotte. From here to the rest of eternity.
Charlotte is in such an awful position right now, and I am not a Charlotte hater like you are.
No, you're not.
She's already in a precarious situation where it's like, what can Charlotte do to get over now? Like, she is the one who Becky got over, and Becky is as hot as anybody in the entire company, gender aside.
Yeah.
And it's at Charlotte's expense, and there's really no way you can write Charlotte clawing her way back because the crowd will not have it.
Nope, not at all.
She has to become The Rock.
Yeah.
She has to figure out how to completely evolve into she has to get onto Becky's level with a completely different gimmick, which she's a Flair. That's not the way the Flairs operate, right? It's going to be tough.
She needs to turn heel Flair. Is essentially what it turns into.
Yeah.
She needs to just, okay, if you're gonna boo me, then I'm just gonna go full heel turn, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be the dirtiest player in the women's division.
Yeah. And I think that actually the people would love that, just absolute heel versus heel, all out brawl. We haven't seen it in a good long time. It'd be the first time probably in the women's division with this kind of oomph behind it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, certainly, of course, there have been heel versus heel women's battles.
Well,
but
it's absolutely been a hot minute since you've had a women's program, that's absolutely this strong that you could pull it off with. Because I don't think you could go heel versus heel with like anything Alexa Bliss is doing. Like, she's got to be the bad guy.
Right.
She just has to be. She's too good
agree.
at it. Well, sticking with the women, let's go to the Raw side of the thing. Here's a match that I don't know that I'm looking forward to. The Riot Squad, who I love, versus the Bellas, who I do not, and Ronda Rousey, who I'm lukewarm and on the fence about.
They're going to let the Bellas back into the ring, are they?
They are. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this has got to be tricky for you, though, because you have the number one contendership on the line. This is almost lock, stock knowledge that Ronda is not losing.
Yeah, no, Ronda wins this match.
So
it's another one of those, like John Cena.
With your head, not your heart, eh?
Yeah, no, it's like John Cena, man. You don't trot Ronda all the way out to Australia and then not give her the win. She gets the submission because she obviously doesn't know how to do anything else. And I don't know. I only trust Ruby Riott to actually take that. It says who makes the fall and who takes the fall. I say Ruby Riott is going to take that submission because she's the workhorse of the Riot Squad. I love all three of them, but she's obviously the glue
Yes.
that keeps them all together.
Yeah. No. And that's the Riot. It's funny that we have this match that is obviously meant to be like this incredibly bright light spotlight on the women's division because Ronda Rousey and the Bellas are so incredibly popular.
Right.
Whereas you and I are in the boat of the Riot Squad's going to get to perform on the big stage. That's the exciting.
Yeah, that's
aspect of it.
the bonus for us. It's like, hey, the Riot Squad is
just
on
don't hurt the
pay-per-view.
Riot Squad. That's what we like.
Yeah, exactly. Can all three girls please make it out with their careers intact? I'm a little upset with the pro wrestling scorecards that you can't get bonus points for the idea that Nikki Bella is going to turn on Ronda so they can have a match at Evolution, because I feel like that's how this ends.
Probably so. And that's like, not interested.
Yeah.
That is the main event that I don't want to see
Yeah.
again. It's the Roman Reigns of things. I'm a big Ronda fan, but just not the.
That's not the match I want.
I'm not a Bellas fan, and I'm also, I have no reason to believe that the Bellas are going to be sticking around after this. They feel like part-timers to me.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
Even if Brie wasn't meant to be a part-timer, probably in everyone's best interest if she is. Protect the Bella brand and protect the rest of the locker room.
Daniel Bryan's going to be mad at you.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Daniel. I apologize. It's not personal. I just wish that she would stop concussing people.
All right, the last match in the card that we are super involved in, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe.
Oof.
I say AJ keeps.
All right, I'm going to say Samoa Joe. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know necessarily even that I believe it.
Oh, you know what?
But this really could.
I'm
AJ's been on such a tear, and Samoa Joe has got so much bark, and we've seen in his career he's got bite, but he's not been able to clamp down in the WWE, and he really needs to excel at some point. We need to see Samoa Joe prove his point by winning a damn thing.
Yeah, he needs to hold at least a mid-card title and then decimate everyone week
That would
after
be
week
fantastic.
that comes for
That'd
it.
be fantastic. I just don't know if he has it in him. He's all pomp and circumstance. He can talk the talk. He has not yet showed me that he can walk the walk.
Right.
Samoa Joe, the numbers don't lie. Get out there and win a title.
And they spell disaster for you at Super Old Guy Showdown. You know what? I'm going to leave AJ. I was about to change my vote. I was about to change to Samoa Joe. You'd almost talk me into it. But I'm going to leave it. But I am going to say that it's going to end in a DQ. I think a disqualification, the program has become so volatile.
That makes sense.
That a disqualification is in the cards this time.
They just can't handle it.
Exactly.
It's a long flight. A lot of antsiness. Got to be weird if they're on the same flight, especially.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like, do you chain up Samoa Joe? Like,
does AJ bring his family with him just to make sure that they're okay, and then become horrified that Joe was actually on the flight with them?
I think they have to chain him up like Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. Can you imagine he's chained up, he's in he's near the back of the plane, AJ and his family near the front of the plane, and he spends the entire flight going, "Oh, Wendy!" Ooh, that's a horror movie right there.
Not necessarily wrestling related, but I remember I went to an Ozfest at one point, and they brought out. This is the first time I had seen Disturbed. The Ooh Wah Ah Ah song had come out, and I was like, "This song's pretty damn cool." And so they wheel him out on the
Hannibal Lecter handcart,
and he's in a straitjacket and his mask on. And I'm a huge Alice Cooper fan, so I'm like, this is gonna be awesome,
right?
And they wheel him out. I'm like, I like this song. I like the wah thing. And they stagehands unfurl him. They take him out of the straitjacket and they take the mask off. And then it was just Disturbed, and they played for 40 minutes. I was like, "The fuck is this? This is garbage." That's all. Never a Disturbed fan. Never, not from day one. I was like, and I was primed. Like they had got all the promos had me in the building.
Yeah.
And then they just to me.
That's all the theatrics you got.
I know there are people who are very big Disturbed fans.
They are down with the sickness.
All power to you. Much respect. There are many bands that I like that I know that people hate, and I understand that they hate them and why they would hate them. But yeah, Disturbed like the. Boy, it was like the most. It was like the wrestler who had the sparkling stormtrooper helmet that fell off the stage. The Shockmaster.
Our partner is the Shockmaster.
That's Disturbed as the Shockmaster of new metal to me.
Oof, that's rough. That's rough, sir. All right, well, let's gut through the rest of this card. We've got the 6-man tag team match, the Dogs of War versus the Shield. Who wins this match?
The Shield.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it too. The Shield absolutely wins this match.
I wish they had the option of like picking how long you think the match is going to be, because they would just out of just angry principle say just 1 minute. Just please,
30
just
seconds.
Make it go fast.
Pinfall. Who do you think takes the fall? Who do you think makes it? I think Dolph Ziggler.
Would you hate? Well, hate's the wrong word, because I don't think either of us actually hate Roman Reigns. But would you like Roman Reigns more or less if his matches were like 2-minute squashes? Like, just get him in there, get him out of there. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't need to see him for 20 minutes because I know the outcome anyway. Like, just get it over with. Move him along.
I think it would just be one more thing for us to shit on.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
like, oh, Roman's only in the ring for 60 seconds or 90 seconds.
For sure.
Obviously, he can't wrestle.
It would for sure become the thing that people did shit on. For me, I think, though, I'd just be like, yeah, good.
Good, this is over quickly.
Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully something big happens here. But
who do you think pins Dolph Ziggler? I almost picked Braun Strowman.
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic.
I'm going to say Diener, just because he's been the focal point for fucking 2 weeks.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say Dean over McIntyre.
Yeah.
With a pinfall.
All right. Who wins the Super Old Guy Showdown in your eyes?
Whoever has better cardio. Triple H will probably take a cart to the ring, whereas the Undertaker will have to actually walk.
Yeah, but it'll take him a while.
He gets to take a slow pace, but he is an old man and will be exhausted as a result. I think that taking the motorcycle will give Triple H the extra energy, along with whatever Centrum Silver he pops before the match.
Fair.
And the Undertaker wins this thing. Okay.
You know what? I'm going to pick Triple H. I think Kane lets the Undertaker down and Triple H gets the pinfall.
Okay. I mean, I think that Triple H still has a room to do interesting things.
Yeah.
And the Undertaker certainly could if they had decided at any point that they wanted him to, but that ship is long sailed. So.
Well, and I have to say, I'm definitely I'm booking this match based on the idea that I think we're going to see a return match, probably a tag team match at Crown Jewel, if not a Survivor Series between all four of these guys.
Yeah.
We'll see DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. I think it's almost a given.
Sure. No, I agree.
So I'm thinking to myself, like, who's better at saying we got to do this again? You know, like if Triple H loses, I don't think he says we got to do this again. But if Taker loses, I feel like his character says no. Mm-hmm. There were shenanigans, and I want a clean victory over you.
Outside interference. That's an interesting one because I have to believe that. First off, how do you define outside interference in this match?
I guess somebody who's not in the match interfering in the match.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that's the textbook definition. I'm looking at the players involved and wondering how they would go about it. I feel like Shawn Michaels has to take a shot, right? Like that, there has to be some sort of catalyst to get him into the tag team match.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? It's not a tag team. I keep forgetting it's not a tag team match. So yeah, obviously Shawn's gonna super kick some motherfucker.
So yeah, I'm thinking inside interference to the outside rather than the opposite way around.
Right.
But, I'm really just splitting hairs at this point, and it's time to move on, Mr. Bean.
I like that there's not only you can judge match time in minutes, combined interest time in minutes is in here.
Oh my lord!
I feel like that's absolutely a call out to the fact that the Undertaker's going to take a good 5 full minutes to get to the fucking ring.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say 6. I'm gonna say 6.
Ooh, I put 6 as well.
Yeah, no, I think Undertaker will take anywhere from 4 to 5 minutes. Triple H will probably take anywhere from 1 to 2 minutes.
I'll say 7. It's an arena, so it'll take a long time. That's
All
for
right,
sure.
That's fair. Announce tables.
Match time bell to bell. Oh my God!
20
Mercifully, be short.
Yeah, no, I said 24 minutes. It's just going to be long and awful.
If it's 24 minutes, that means one of them is laying on, one or both of them, or all 4 of them is laying out for like 7 minutes.
That's kind of how their Hell in a Cell match went years and years ago. There was a lot of old guys laying in the ring for a long time.
As Stone Cold always says, that's not a break. That's to build drama.
No, that's I can't catch my breath. I'm blown up and I can't catch my breath. How many announce tables go out?
English.
I'm picking just the Spanish announce table.
Oh, I'm saying other, and I'm saying Japanese. I'm hoping that the Japanese table is
What if they put the Australian announce table next to ringside?
How dare you, sir?
It's almost another language. What the fuck does good day mean?
No,
I don't
man.
get it.
Oh, the slang alone is a brilliantly other language, but I don't think they actually literally have to have their own commentators.
All right, you got up to 5 selections for unscheduled appearances. Who shows up in Australia that isn't on the card?
I don't know, but I just remembered that Byron said that he wanted to have the New Day penetrate his ear.
Yep.
And Corey Graves said, Jesus Christ, Byron.
It's true. It's true. No, as always, the New Day segment from SmackDown this week. If you don't see anything, you got to see the New Day segment because it's typical funny, typical innuendo from Big E. It was worthwhile. I'm saying the United States of Nakamura got to show up at this because I've heard rumors that Shinsuke may in fact end up defending his United States title against Rey Mysterio
At this match?
at the Australia thing.
So it's like
as a surprise.
Everyone wakes up in the United States and goes, oh my God, this thing has happened.
Oh my God, it's 6:30 in the morning and I've been up since 4 to watch this thing and hey, it's Rey Mysterio.
I have to believe that that there is many Australian fans who have a foot in the New Japan world.
Right.
So yeah, that Shinsuke makes all the sense in the world. Shinsuke would be my first choice.
I'm gonna say Shinsuke shows up. I'm gonna say Rey shows up. I'm gonna say the Bushwhackers show up.
The Bushwhackers.
It's Australia, motherfucker.
Oh, man, you're gonna fucking rail on this. You've got this locked down. I hadn't given that any kind of thought like that.
Who else is from Australia? Was Skinner?
Skinner's not showing up.
Skinner's gonna be there.
Yeah, you're wasting your ink there. But I think your other 4 choices all are intriguing, and I don't. Shinsuke, I can in good conscience write down. The other 3, I would literally just be pulling your coattails. Be like straight scissoring. Other Australians. They screwed up by letting Emma go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to come back to you.
All right, fair enough. We'll find out next week what your picks were for that, and we'll see if I'll keep a close eye on you during the Superstar Showdown to make sure you don't just write them in as they show up.
Mm-hmm. Fair, very fair.
I don't need any cheating going on.
No shenanigans.
No shenanigans.
Well, people can find you on Nerd Radio.
Nerd Radio. In fact, this week we talked about not only this particular card coming up. We talked about New Japan's show. We did like 30 or 40 minutes on wrestling just in this week's show alone. Nice. So definitely, if you're a wrestling fan and you enjoy the sound of my voice, first of all, thank you very much. You're in the minority. And second of all, go ahead and check out Nerd Radio on WRF.com's podcast page.
Excellent.
Find us on the social medias at The One Fall Show.
Yeah, come to the Facebook group. That's the best way to do it.
Yep, Instagram on Twitter and on Facebook. You can find us on that. You can find me at Chizuckbean, CHZUCK. Currently, my handle is 2spooky5eva because it is the spooky season over on Twitter.
All right, excellent. You can find me at Shonny Constant at a couple of different places, although I'm not particularly active right now. I need some friends. Say hello.
That's what it takes. No, that's what it takes, man. It's the positive reinforcement. As much in the same way as we said at the top of the show, the fact that you guys listen to us talk about wrestling and we have a passion for just getting together and talking like a couple of friends. We appreciate that, and the all the hits that we get on iTunes or something like that. That's positive reinforcement.
Absolutely.
Knowing that you're out there listening to us makes us go, well, fuck, we should keep doing this.
Yeah, I have a lot of self-loathing, and I deign to dare be sour often.
Right. Got to bring the power of positivity to Shonny.
Bring the power of positivity. When I started saying that sentence, I actually thought I would be able to just on the fly have something good to come. No,
just nothing.
Bum, bum, ba-da.
Here you go. One last time. Oh no. Be good. Be safe. Don't fall in the hole.